Will Brooks, Sales Director at Spectrami. I'm here again with my colleague Grant.
I will.
Today we want to talk to you about VDI, and a lot of our videos have been around cloud computing and how that is emerging, and the hybrid cloud and private cloud and public cloud, and what can and can't work where, and the challenges and the benefits that brings to organisations. For years now, we've been involved in that space where we're talking about user personalisation, about the user and removing them from a physical device, and meaning they got access to all of their data from anywhere. And that used to be XenApp, and with the Citrix world is now XenDesktop, but that's VDI, and there's different flavours around that, so it can be VMware, etc. But I want to talk today a little bit about this particular user here. He's accessing a XenDesktop environment, but users have a problem. They always want to save things locally, don't they? It's like we've got this really bad habit of I'm just going to save it, and I'm going to save something to my local machine.
Yeah, I mean, it's all well and good, having storage available and home directories and public drives, and encouraging my user to save data to those standard locations. But at the end of the day, everyone saves something to their desktop. I do, you do.
Yeah.
And that's what my users do. And to be honest, they're demanding this flexibility and having that casual way to compute. And the problem that we've got is ensuring that piece of data is going to be available when I log on tomorrow morning, especially when you start looking at using this kind of compute, because actually it's non-persistent.
Well, you can't, it's not cost effective to have a dedicated machine built here, because you might as well give them a desktop.
Exactly right. I wouldn't have a bank of 1,000 machines for my 1,000 user organisation just in case someone comes in the morning and wants to log on. It's not financially viable.
No, it doesn't work. And the scalability about the performance improvements you get all come from, I know that there's going to be 20% of my workforce probably going to be on holiday or not working at that point, or travelling. So why would I have compute resource available for that?
And it comes into its own as well when you look at organisations like healthcare, for example, where you've got shift workers, and actually, a third of the organisation is working at any one time. The other 2/3 are getting ready for the next day because their shift hasn't started yet. Yeah.
Excellent. So our happy user here has saved something to his UK desktop.
Yep.
But he's a task-based worker. He's going to go out, and he's been out in the field, and he's gone home. He needs to catch up and do something. Is that file going to be available for him, and how do we maintain that that's possible?
Yeah, so the case of my user, his expectation is that piece of data, that document, let's say, is going to be available on their desktop when they go home and log on via their laptop or their home PC. Now, the nature of VDI, of course, is that there's no data actually resident on these devices. For all intents and purposes, it's a display device. It's a dumb terminal.
Yeah.
It's actually saved on one of these sessions. In this case, in my Nutanix cluster. So what I need to do is ensure that the data is going to be there the next day when the user spins up a new session, and perhaps they're logging on to a different cluster. It's because it's non-persistent, it's going to be rebuilt and renewed the very next time they log on.
Okay. So that's great. That's fantastic expectations. What the user wants. That's what IT want to be delivered to people.
Yep.
But it's not quite as simple as that. You can't just put your cloud infrastructure here, wherever that be, and your XenDesktop on top of that. What do we have to do?
Yeah, so there's some file synchronization technologies built into Microsoft Windows and certainly the server variants. But what that does lead to frequently is issues with open files, slow log-offs, so waiting for the files to synchronize at the point of log-off. And obviously, the case of my user, he gets to the end of his shift, he wants to go home. He's not going to be sat there waiting for log-offs to take place, waiting for 5 minutes for all of the documents that are on the desktop to be upstream back to the file server somewhere. Yeah. He wants to get up and go home. So what we need is a file synchronization technology, such as we have with Peer Software, whereby we have a small agent that sits here and real-time replicates any data that could be saved on my desktop, my home directory, my public drive, back to the centralized file resource. Because it happens at real time, there's no delay at the end of the day when I log off.
Yeah.
The data's already replicated, the files are closed, so there's no file open, there's no corruption of data, there's no profile issues, and very simply, the user's got the experience that they expect.
Okay, so if we want to keep this user happy, keep that smile on his face, we install peer software in this environment, whichever that is, whether that's Nutanix, whether it's public cloud, whether it's private cloud, doesn't matter, whether it's just our existing servers within our VDI environment, and they get their access to their data.
Absolutely. So we take care of the synchronization in the background. The user hasn't got to worry about where they're going to get to the data. They can save the data where they expect to, in this case on their desktop, and everything else is synchronized and replicated in the background.
Excellent. So if you'd like to learn more about peer software and how Spectrami can help you, then please get in touch.